Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Ham Nation is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of Ham Nation is brought to you by DX Engineering. DX Engineering offers practically everything you need to outfit your shack, plus the fastest shipping in the industry. In-stock items ship the same day, Monday through Friday until 10 p.m. Eastern. For more information, visit dxengineering.com/hamnation. By Harry's. For guys who want a great shave experience for a fraction of what you're paying now, go to harrys.com. For a limited time, new customers can get a free trial and pay just $3 for shipping by going to harrys.com/hamnation. And by ICOM. For more information, visit icomamerica.com/hamnation.
This is Ham Nation, episode number 235, February 17th, 2016. Relays, switches, and Gordo's Orlando vacation. Hello, everybody. It's Bob, K9EID. I'm in the Ozarks tonight, and we are on Ham Nation. That's what you're dialed into. And we got a really fun thing tonight. We always have fun things, but just lots of good stuff going on, and we have some great hosts. Of course, there's Gordo. Gordo, how are you doing? You're back from Orlando. They let you out safely?
They did. I am back from Orlando. What a show. Details shortly.
All right. That's great. Don, what are you doing other than causing situations at the radio station, probably?
I'm being a nuisance to all who know me and love me. It's more people who know me than love me, but that's okay, because it's all right, because Dr. Tamitha Skov is my friend, and as long as I have Dr. T as my friend, all is fine, and she'll be your friend too tonight, just after the Newsline report, Bob.
Cool. She's here. All right. Get set, everybody. And George, how you doing? You doing any soldering lately? We got to get you going to solder. What are you doing?
I have. I've been doing quite a bit of soldering, and as a matter of fact, I've been rebuilding some of these. This one still needs it right here. This is part of a rectifier stack out of a 35 kilowatt transmitter. It's got 40 diodes and 40 MOVs on it, so that's a good bit of soldering.
Well, are you going to use this on 75 meters, or where are you going to put this thing?
Good point. I really can't say. If I'm going to run that kind of power, I better kind of keep it quiet.
Oh, well. Well, listen, before we get back to Gordo, he's got some good news from Orlando, but we wanted to let everybody know about a very special thing. Our friends at Last Man Standing. You know, they are a network television show on ABC. If you haven't seen it, please dial it in this Friday, in 2 days. This Friday, Last Man Standing. You will see amateur radio in the background, and sometimes it's a feature part of the show. But Friday, Caitlin Dever, she's the actress that plays Eve. She's got kind of a new career going. And we're all excited, of course, at Heil Sound, because she's going to be using one of our Finn microphones all lit up. And plus everything else, the whole band is taken care of with. It's really cool, though. We saw just a piece of the segment a couple of nights ago. Our great friend, John Amadeo, sent it along, and he wants everybody to tune in because it's a great show, and we just love seeing the features on amateur radio when they get that all going. So Last Man Standing, our great friends will be talking amateur radio on a couple issues again. So watch Friday night, and that's fun. A couple of other things. We've gotten so much. My goodness, everybody. Thanks for sending all this in. I'll get into some of this just in a little bit, but we better get over and take care of Gordo, because he's got some great news from Orlando. And I bet it was nice and warm, right?
It was warm, and a lot of nice comments about our show. And Last Man Standing, you can talk to them on the air, 20 and 40 meters on Monday nights and Tuesday nights at 0000 hours Zulu. Now, a lot of things coming up this week. February 28th, Limark is having their big get-together. Actually, that's week after next, their big Ham Fest, February 28th, Limark. This weekend is the ARRL Southwestern Division Convention in Yuma. So see you in Yuma. Cuyahoga Amateur Society doing classes starting up shortly. San Francisco Radio Club, 100 years old. A ham radio cruise out on a big ship planned for next year. And the VHF conference at Washington Dulles in April. So let's take a look and cruise the airwaves and see what's out there for Orlando. So, Brian, if you'll go ahead and roll the shorts. First of all, cruising the airways is not quite the same as it used to be. It's more like cruising in a cattle car. Ugh, my heart goes out to those of you having to take an airplane anywhere. But once you get to Orlando, look at this. This was Orlando's 70th Hamcation, also hosting the ARRL National Convention and ARR Expo with all their booths. So it was a great pair of events all under one fairgrounds facility. And look at this, water everywhere, plenty of room for RVers to come on in and camp out with nearly full hookups. You just had to watch out those high tension wires before you put up any big antenna. But I mean, acres and acres of RV areas, and some RVers just found the spot. This fellow said he had a pretty good ground with all aluminum around him, but as soon as he tied into the lake, wahoo. So this is Orlando, and they were so casual, it was great. You could walk on Friday and Saturday and some of Sunday along the RVers and check out all the stuff on nice, mushy grass. And the weather was just like that, blue. Now, for seminars, they had 70-plus forums, and they were held in 3 of these blow-up tents. Not air pressurized, but what held them up was blowing up, and the tent overlooks the lake. They had a PA system, so all 3 were going constantly without any interaction. Carol Perry, WB2MGP, representing Radio Club of America youth programs, along with QCWA, had a great talk, and it was packed with kids. She did a fabulous job, and Radio Club of America is quite dedicated to see more kids getting into ham radio. Well, my first talk was not out there under the tents, but in a room that was ultimately packed, where we were talking about ham instruction. That first look is always a good one, and I said if you're teaching a class, you got to have stuff. So we had all the stuff to show them. We just don't talk about it. Talked about using our training materials, that they follow a slightly different order than other materials, and to stick with one. And, of course, we had to have the glowing pickle. And I can't think of better people to pickle the pickle than our publisher, Peter Trotter, as well as Eric, who is one of our technical editors, and, of course, a young man. And we've had in the past some old men, and anyone that blows up a Gordo pickle dealing with volts, amps, and watts, they know all about the routine. Hex beams were everywhere at the Orlando show. Everybody is now getting from aluminum into wire, and hex beams were a big show. And on top of these towers of the emergency communication service vehicle, big antennas. All of the towers were from Aluma, because they're right there in Florida, and I have 2 Aluma towers here, and they are good. And they hold up the different varieties of hex beams. This one from Radio Waves takes 2 coaxes for all the multiple bands that it does, but what the heck, today's rigs all have at least 2 coax outputs. And nothing beats a live satellite demo, and they had that going on at Hamcation in Orlando. The contact was loud and clear. And hey, let's not forget Disney. We're in Disneyland, Disney World, and the Amateur Radio Communications Emergency Amateur Radio Service of Disney was there. And that continuously drew a crowd. Representing the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary, for which Dale and I are members. Dale is passed with the Coast Guard. We had representatives. And, of course, from the American Radio Relay League, they had about 12 booths all together. Let me tell you, here's one guy that really makes things happen, Bob Inderbetson. Thanks, Bob, for all you do for the ARRL. And, of course, Dave Sumner was the main man for the Saturday night banquet that was held just down the street. The banquet hall was absolutely jammed, and Dave did a fabulous job. Of course, after 48 years working with the league, I would hope that he's good for that, and he's soon to pass the torch. And finally, RF Finder. You've heard about that, the worldwide repeater directory. They have now cut a deal and is now the official online repeater directory of the American Radio Relay League. Whew, Bob, W2CYK, we're glad that you put that together. Now, I was working, doing books and training of Elmers, and it was a great time. And as you can see, as soon as those gates swung open, about anywhere from 13 to 15,000 ham radio operators poured into the room. That's Ham Radio Outlet Steve, W4SHG, and ICOM's Diane Morrison, KE7PCS. She was regularly checking up to make sure that the stores had all the great products that they carry. And look at some of the commercial as well as the swap meets. They were inside and outside. All of the swap meets had big stakes inside if they wanted to be inside, or they could be outside. And there was some great deals on equipment. I love walking the halls and looking at the swap meet stuff. But if you're doing a ham fest, you got to get there at daybreak. And again, there's one of the entrances to the many buildings. And this is where they had the prize booth. And this is great. You didn't have to run around and find the prize booth after you did your ticket to see if you won anything. They had a smartphone application, and you just go on your smartphone from wherever you are and see if you're a winner. And winner was the big crowd around Tar Heels. And over again, the word was when properly installed. And the greatest comment was the installation and where's the feed point, above, below, beside. And we're going to talk more about that technically in upcoming days. And he agrees that feed point positioning is very important. New name, Night Fire. Now, they do Arduino modules, they do kits, they do broadbanding. Look at all this neat stuff. And Night Fire was there. Augustine, KM4OFE, was there to explain that we are now the kit person. So take a look at www.va, V as in Victor, A as in Alpha, kits.com, and that is Night Fire. And wow, what a great line of products they have for those of us that like to put together kits. Now, checking up on us was Ray Novak, Ray with ICOM America, and he had a big smile, and he says, you got to see what I've got. So we walked over to his booth. There was Will, KI4VXF, that works side by side with Ray on the marketing of ICOM products, and it's the new ICOM IC 7300. Wow, this has got the basis of a software-defined radio. It's got the size of a small ICOM 718. It has everything from HF all the way up to 6 meters. And when I looked at it, I said, well, tell me about the waterfall. And he says the waterfall and the scope display is always active. In other words, instead of pushing a button, having it scan and freeze, it is constantly running. So, wow, what a rig. We don't know the price yet, but the ICOM 7300 coming soon. A lot of computer stuff there. All showing the neat things you can do with ham radio and computers. And every so often we'd hear beside my Uga horn for those passing the test, and they did testing on Saturday right on scene. We heard the bell go off, and that's Main Trading. You know, they were dressed up. They had a bell every time someone would buy something. They'd bong the bell. And this is neat. This adds excitement to a ham radio get-together. And talk about eating. They had so much food and food vendors, not with just your normal hot dogs, but I mean finger-licking food of every kind, probably alligator stuff for Don. But it was there, and it was in the shade. There were not long lines. So if you were hungry for more than a donut and a Coke, you could get it there in the food line. And talk about a hot dog. Yep, that is an Orlando long dog. Now, speaking of antenna tuners and resonant LC circuits, I see the C, but you mean a water bucket for the L for inductance? I bet that goes all the way down to, yep, we followed the coax on this big HF low-band coil, and guess what they were tuning in? The new ham radio, well, it's experimental, the hams now, the new 475 kilohertz. That's not megahertz, that is kilohertz band, and that tuned up quite nicely. The Q of that coil was pretty high, but nonetheless. Now, speaking of coils, remember the days of Western Union and click, 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 click? Well, they had live working units there, and there they were. They were dressed the part, and they were clicking away, and people were reading it by the click clicks, not by anything else. So if you're an old Western Union person, head on out to next year's Hamcation and try your skill in decoding it. Even these lovely ladies, Grace and Faith, Faith AE4FH, were clicking away, and instead of beep beep beeps, it was clickety click, and that was a great way to keep the kids interested. And if you don't want someone playing with your J38 key, you can just put it on a varmint getter, and they'll keep their mitts off. Let me tell you, 200 volunteers around the Orlando area. These volunteer hams were going around making sure everybody was filled with donuts. They were making things happen. Also, representatives of the Dayton Ham Convention were there, as well as Huntsville. In fact, Huntsville, Charlie was going around and giving folks all sorts of little food bits to keep them humming in the commercial exhibitors' booth. So they really know how to take care of exhibitors at Orlando. But Orlando did, just like Dayton and every other ham fest. They left booths where someone had airplane problems and couldn't get in. They still left them bare. I say, if you got a booth right next to you that's dead, take down the little barrier and let that person next to that booth take over so it doesn't look like a dead area. Because while it looks nice here, after a few hours, it collects all sorts of stuff. So you booth people, make sure that you don't have a dead booth at your upcoming Dayton Hamvention or Huntsville, because I'll be on the look. This was interesting. This was a great that carried who knows what, but the sun was just right, and a little bit of CW for those of you that enjoy CW to read. I couldn't quite figure it out, but it certainly looked like code to me. And finally, Chairman Peter Majors. Thank you, Peter, AI4KM. Wow, what a job. He was constantly there from sunup to sundown to banquet time. Peter, you made it happen. But keeping Peter from making it happen, on the left is Liddy Majors, Chairman, KJ4LMM. She also worked out all of the hotel rooms for the guests and so on. She was the best. But as you can see, she had plenty of kids to give her a hand. So Orlando is over. A record crowd, record exhibitors, and a record look at this, the hex beam. So if you're looking to get into hex beams, they've got it ready for you. So that's my Orlando report. And thanks to the many folks that said they'll see us at the Dayton Hamvention doing our booth here in Ham Nation. So we look forward to seeing you, and I'll have their names and so on next week. But we look forward to seeing all of you at an upcoming convention. And Bob, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Orlando, a hit. Bob, back to you.
It was really great. I have to try to arrange some time next year. It's really tough for us because of the NAMM show right before it and all that. But yeah, super. The best thing was seeing those young girls and with the telegraph, teletype, and all the other stuff they do outside of CW. That was cool. But yeah, that's always been a great event. Great event. Well, we have to go listen to Don because Don's got a very important message about where to buy that gear that you just saw.
Yeah, I do. And speaking of those young girls, there is video, actually. It's on Facebook. I saw it somewhere, of them working pile-ups on the HF station there at the Hamfest. And apparently she took control of the frequency because she got on there and she said, listen, if you're going to talk while I'm going to talk, then I'm not going to work you. You're not going to get in my log. So everybody stand by, take turns, play nice, or you're not getting in the log. And I think that is that's just awesome. That's the way to do it. If you're on the pointy end of the pile up and you got to play traffic cop, you got to play traffic cop. This is where you want to go right here. DX Engineering, especially if you are a new ham or if you know someone who just got their tech, brand new ham, because, well, let's face it, ham radio can be overwhelming. I know before I got my license, I would go pick up a copy of QST or CQ or 73 was actually going on back then, 25, well, God, longer than that, because I've been licensed almost 25, but back in the 70s, and I would look through that stuff, and it made no sense to me. Well, to help Elmer beginning hams, DX Engineering has created Get Started combos that illustrate exactly what it takes to get on the air. And they have the Get Started base, the Get Started mobile, and the Get Started handheld combos. They show you exactly what components that a new ham is going to need and will demonstrate the cost involved. The mobile and the HT combos are geared for beginner VHF, UHF operator. The base combo is ideal for a new ham's first HF base station setup. So perfect if you know someone who just got their general. The combos are built around Alinco, ICOM, Kenwood, Yaesu, all the popular radios. They're full-featured radios, good for beginners or experts alike, and they're also available in a variety of antenna mounts and accessory configurations. The handheld combos include programming software and hookup cables. Man, is that handy. Better still, you can review each combo's contents in detail, create your own combo, a la carte. So if you're Elmering a new ham, you got to check out DX Engineering's Get Started combos. Excellent way to demonstrate various types of station setups. The keyword getting started, type that in the search box at dxengineering.com and you will see them all. Now, DX is their first name, and the A35T Tonga DX Expedition is begin to set tomorrow, as a matter of fact. It's going to be active for almost a week. Tonga is consistently high on the DXCC Most Wanted list. It's a must-have if you're looking for your Century Club Award. And DX Expedition is concurrent with this weekend's International DXCW contest, so that makes it an attractive contact as well. And, DX Engineering, they support all of these big DXpeditions. They gave the Tonga team 1,000 feet of the new RG8X coax cable. Low-loss cable, rugged, durable, excellent handling characteristics, and the 8X is an excellent choice for both permanent and portable HF stations. That's what I run here at the massive throbbing Alpha Echo 5 Delta Whiskey Station. Also coming up soon, the VK0EK Herda Island DXpedition, and they're setting up in the shadow of an active volcano, so this is an exciting chance, maybe even your last chance, to get this extremely rare contact. They supplied, DX Engineering did VK0EK with Comtech 4-square systems. These are very directive, very directive. It makes them an excellent choice because the team can target specific geographical areas. You want to know what else the team will use? Check out the VK0EK DXpedition combos. And you know where that is, dxengineering.com. Remember, DX Engineering gets your stuff out faster than anybody else in the industry. If you get your ground shipping order in by 10 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Friday, and if it's in stock, it will be on a truck headed your way that day. Proven products, expert advice, DX Engineering. They help you shrink the globe. Request your catalog. Shop online 24/7 at dxengineering.com/hamnation. And DX Engineering, thank you so much for your support of Ham Nation. This is the latest catalog that I have so far, autumn-winter 2015. And if you go to page, 24 you'll see Heil microphones. And that kind of dovetails nicely with the Audio Alley, Bob. So why don't you pick that up for us?
That is just too much. And being able to put these kits together, it's so important because I get these emails, Don, all the time is, help me. I have all this stuff. How do I hook it up? Yeah. And there it is. You can get the whole deal, and that's just really great. So hats off
you can buy your stuff and get Elmered right there at DX Engineering. It's your one-stop shop. So dxengineering.com/hamnation. Go there after the show.
Who better have an Elmer than Tim Duffy?
Tim Duffy? Yeah. Oh my.
Well, I have to take time here to read you a little bit of this really great letter, and I've got a stack of them over here, but this one's kind of special. It came from Michael Pedersen. He's WA7 MPL 40 years ago. Got his license, but he went to Double E school and got interested in everything else and dropped it. But because of Ham Nation and all of us on here, and he names us all, because of what we do to help people get involved in ham radio, he came back into the hobby. And Gordo, you'll be happy to hear he did it at Torrance at the Southwest ARRL convention. So it's just wonderful to get these kind of results that not only are we having fun here on Ham Nation, but we're helping a lot of people, and we're talking about a lot of people. I got a really cool thing. I want to show you some pictures. There's, you have them, Brian. Why don't you bring those up? Those two pictures we have are of a mic switcher. Now, what's really cool about this is he built this from scratch, and it switches microphones, and it switches push-to-talk lines, and he's doing it with the little relays. And the next picture shows you kind of opened up so you can see the bottom board, and that's that perf board is a way to do it. And we're going to get into some of that. We need to build some things on perf board and show you how to use that. And here I'll switch it over on my camera. Here he is. It's Paul Hadlow, VK2 PNH. And Paul, hats off to you, buddy. I mean, to tell you, this is what it's all about, is jumping into these projects. And what happens if it doesn't work? You just rebuild it. That's really great. But the relays, you usually would see these kind of relays. You can, you used to be able to get them at Radio Shack. I'm not sure. The best place I find to get them is the Gateway in St. Louis. Boy, do they have a lot of wonderful parts. It's been around since the late 50s, but they have some wonderful parts and great prices. And you could use that kind of relay. Well, that's not what he did, because that's a higher current relay, and he uses these little guys right here that fit into the printed circuit boards. And here's another one. This is a single pole, single throw. You can get those too. They've all kinds of relays. And think about it. Build something, and as Paul did, he built his own switch box. So that's really cool. Hats off to you. And like I said, if it doesn't work, find out why it doesn't work and fix it. That's always the fun, I think, of fixing something that doesn't work. One of the things that we also get involved in are guys that have older radios, and they want to use current microphones with the older radios. How do you do that? I mean, it's a real problem, because it really is not something you can do. You cannot plug a low impedance microphone into a Swan or a Central Electronics or a Hallicrafters, although there's an easy way to do it. You can go, I know they used to have these at Radio Shack. They're around. You can find them on the internet. It's a high impedance to low impedance. And the inside here is a transformer, a little bitty transformer. Well, this transformer most of these are not very wide in response. So some years ago, I developed our own, really for me, because I wanted it to get down to like 100 cycles and take it out to about 8 or 10K. Works great, our little XT1. Well, what do you do with that thing? Yeah, you can go out and buy this and everybody be happy. You also, if you really want to get with the program, you spend a little bit of money. This is what we use in the broadcast and recording industry. These are very well shielded. This thing weighs about, half a pound. But this is what they use in big-time consoles and places where you have a lot of RF too. But if you really want to do a classy one, this is what you do. But you don't have to do that for ham radio, where we're not dealing with all that much power and all that. But how do you do it? And here's a nice little diagram. We'll go over here and take a look at it. This diagram shows you how to build your own little impedance matching box. Get you a little box. Gateway's got all kinds of these boxes, by the way. Get you a little box. Get you a drill. Put your connectors. Now, you can have different kind of connectors. This shows a four input. If you use a microphone, it's ground, microphone, and push to talk. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, shield, microphone, 3 and 4 is push to talk, and that carries that through. You could use just a regular phone jack as showing up in the right-hand corner where we have XLRs. That's always another situation. How do you do this? Well, the way this drawing is showing you, you have the first one, that is the low in and the high out. That's an impedance switcher. So you can have your low impedance microphone into a high impedance input, such as the old Swans, Hallicrafters, just a number of those great old transmitters, and get into some of that. It's so much fun. But you need that impedance matching box, and that's the way you can do that. For others, they say, oh, what do? I've got a 3-pin XLR, low impedance, balanced microphone, and I want to plug this into my transmitter. How do I do that? Here's a real easy way to do that. You can plug the pins 2 and 3 into the connector, whatever connector you use. Pin 1 is the shield, and then that comes out. Now, this could be a 600 to 600 ohm. This could be just an isolation transformer. It takes it from balanced to unbalanced. That's the real way to do that. Now, what is this ground lift thing that I haven't talked about? Oh, boy. I'm really going to assault this grounding issue one of these days. I mean, big time. And have some demos to show you about it. But you want to put a switch on your box so that you can connect the two grounds, or you don't connect them, depending on if you got buzzes and clicks and pops and all of that. But that's a real great little project for you. And it's two ways. It's a low impedance to high impedance, or it's balanced low to unbalanced low. Not the same transformer. This transformer is 600 ohms to 600 ohms. This one is 600 to 1,000 ohms to 30,000 ohms. That is a great little project. And it's easy to do. It really is. And if you have never built anything like this, do it. Call Gateway, get you a little box, and make that box work. And it's going to be yours. It's going to be yours. And I had another situation. I'm going to go through this really quickly, where a guy got on the air, hadn't been on the air because nobody told him how. And he's learned a lot. But the biggest deal he had to deal with was the antenna. And here is the first thing you want to do. Do not, if this is the first time you're on the air, do not plan to work every darn frequency in the world. I think that's probably the biggest mistake we all make is we want to work it all. No, no, no. I say get on 40 meters. It's open all day long, all night long, and the antenna is real easy to build. But okay, so what do? You want to get on 40 meters. Well, you figure out where you want to be. What you have to look at is 7.125 to 7,300. That is the phone band for, what is it, generals? This is CW. No, that also is advanced and extra. So what you want to look at is right here, 7.175 to 7,300. And you also do not ever want to operate above 7285 to 90. That's all reserved for AM. Just as that frequency is set up for slow scan television. But cut your antenna for that. Well, how do you do that? I mean, we talk about it all the time. It is too simple. There it is. There it is, right there. There's a simple, and I'm not much of a mathematician. I hate all this math stuff. But there it is. It's really simple. 468 divided by 7.190. And the reason I did that, that's kind of in the middle of the band. And it happened to come out at 65 feet. 65 feet and 65 feet. You could use a piece of speaker wire. You could use number 12 gauge if you wanted. I like to go to Lowe's and get you some 16 gauge copper wire, piece of coax. Well, what do? How do you hook it all up? It's really simple. You don't even have to have connectors. I take a piece of, you can use, I use usually printed circuit boards that haven't been etched. You can use plexiglass, anything like that. Drill 6 holes and just lace it through there for the feed line. Lace this through here, lace this, solder it, and then just that whole section, just cement the heck out of it with RTV or some kind of bathtub caulk. But make sure that it's white so that it doesn't catch the sun rays and get mixed up. I'm telling you, we did this a couple of times on the show. Remember the time that I had Roger at R&L went out and bought me a transmitter in the flea market at Dayton, because I never get to go in the flea market. I took that transmitter. It was a 730 Icon. We bought it for $150. I built that antenna, and we worked first contact. Oh, by the way, it was only like 15, 20 feet high. Worked London, England. Remember that? It's there. You can go hear it. So you see, you don't need big towers. You don't need all that to get started. Find out what you like. That's why I say one band. Get used to it. And find some groups that you can get in with and just make ham radio fun for you. Go, we're all different. And you could do this same thing for 20 meters. That's the same thing. 468, pick out the frequency. I'd do like 14.250, figure it out. Do that same thing, gonna be a lot shorter. Do that for 20. Don't worry about working all the bands. We're talking about just getting into this hobby. And the problem people get into is, oh my God, I gotta have a tuner, I gotta have multi-band, I gotta have this, gotta have that. You can't work all the bands at one time. You're gonna be overloaded. If you've never been on the air, you're gonna be overloaded. And you can have a lot of fun on that single band. So that's it for tonight. I just had one other thing. Galen wrote me a letter, and it was really cool. He said, I got a relay chattering. What do you do about relays chattering in his Ameritron amplifier? And I said, I do. That's a goodie. And so he wrote me back shortly after, and he said, I fixed it. Guess what he did? He had plugged the amplifier into one of those strips, you know, where you can plug 6 or 8 things into it. Well, what was happening is the voltage was dropping so low into the amplifier, the relays would not engage properly. He plugged it straight into the 110, bingo. No more relay chattering. And who knows how much power he was using going through that strip. So just one of those things. And we have more coming next week. I hope you're enjoying these. Your emails say, so far I haven't had too many say, go to sleep and shut up. But we just try to bring you my enthusiasm of 60 years in this hobby, and it never ends. I spent all day. I took all of the stuff back there. It all came out today. Oh, I spent from, I was on my AM net. I'm on 3885 every morning from 9 to about 10:30. From about 10:30 till 5:30, I took all that out, cleaned it all, rewired it all, relaced things, and got it all pretty back there. And it just never ends. And now I can't wait to get on 75. We're going to talk to my buddies in California on the 3870 AMI net. So there you go. It never ends, and it starts with one band. Don, you have anything to add about that? I know you're going to tell us about how to shave, but
I do. You got to watch the power strips. One of the guys on the chat room says, yeah, power strips are not designed to handle high current. Something else, especially a lot of times you're going to plug an extension cord into those power strips, and that's a no-no. The only thing that we had, you remember this, Bob? We had one guy who had a really, really good use for an extension cord. He took one of those orange big heavy extension cords he got from Home Depot, and he made a wire antenna out of it. Remember that? I called it the home dipole. That's a good use for those extension cords. So we're going to talk about Harry's, and I got an email. I get emails all the time. Bob gets them. I get them. But the ones I get normally are about Harry's, and this is Don. This is from Eric Boyle, N0YET. N0YET. This is great. Want to thank you for doing the Harry's commercials. I've been using another brand for 2 years. Finally bit the bullet with this last promotion upon receiving them in the mail today. I immediately tried them out. Wow, I really like these razors and shaving cream. I'm now a convert. It is by far the best shave I have ever had in a long time. Thank you again for doing the commercials, Eric, N0YET. This episode of Ham Nation is brought to you by Harry's, and if that was the only reason, well, that'd be enough. But Harry's was started by two guys who are passionate about creating a better shaving experience by delivering an amazing shave at an affordable price and delivering it directly to your door. They not only deliver an amazing shave, they also give 1% of their sales and 1% of their time back to the communities that they serve, and that's always a good thing. You get a superior shave from Harry's at an incredible price because they bought a razor factory in Germany that has been crafting some of the world's highest quality blades for almost a century. That German steel is some of the best in the world, and Harry's will sell you their products at factory direct prices because they own the factory, so they only cost a fraction of what the big brands charge. Very little overhead with Harry's, and getting started with Harry's couldn't be easier either. Over 1 million guys and ladies have made the switch to Harry's. The website's streamlined. It's very easy to use. Takes less than 30 seconds to place an order, which reminds me I'm just about out of blades. So I need to get on there and make an order, get me some more blades because, we have two Harry's razors. We have mine and we have my wife's. But what comes in the product is you get the razor handle I just showed you. Great look, great feel, extra razor blades, and shave cream. It smells great. It's all shipped right to your door. All the products, they look amazing. The best part is it costs about half as much as other razor brands. Why pay 32 smackers for an 8-pack of blades when you can get them for half the price at Harry's? And Harry's also offers customized shaving plans that make it easy to get shave supplies delivered directly to your door on your terms based on how often you shave. So you can get a prescription for blades. If you like me, I don't shave very often, so I can have them delivered every couple of months. But if you've got a heavy beard and you shave every day, you can have them come every week if you want, if you're going through them that fast. Harry's is so confident you're going to love your shave. For a limited time, they will let you try it free when you sign up for a shave plan. Get one of Harry's beautifully crafted razor handles with a 5-blade cartridge, the foaming shave gel, and the travel cover for free. Just cover the $3 shipping charge. Go to harrys.com/hamnation right now or immediately after Ham Nation to start your free trial. harrys.com/hamnation. You too will be a Harry's guy. I'm serious when I tell you that people actually come up to me at HamFest and they go, they don't talk about the latest, greatest little, ICOM, whatever they get or what their latest DX thing. And it's like, Don, Harry's, dude, I'm a Harry's guy now because you told me about it. And feel my face. I'd really rather not feel it. No, really, feel my face. Okay, I'll feel it. Oh, yeah, you're a Harry's man. You can be it happens. I'm not kidding you. Not kidding you. Harrys.com/HamNation. You got to go. Let's check out the news of the week with Ham Nation, and then I'll tell you about what I'm going to be doing Monday night. I'm kind of excited about that. So let's go to the news and see what Dr. T's got going, too. From Amateur Radio Newsline Report, number 1998, these are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, February 17th, 2016. Another reminder of the life-saving work that radio amateurs do by stepping in to assist in natural disasters. The latest following the deadly earthquake in Taiwan.
Sitting on what is known as the Pacific Rim of Fire, another earthquake, this with a magnitude of 6.4, has rocked the island of Taiwan. Saturday, Feb 6. It set off the collapse of several buildings, and a signal went out from the Chinese Taipei Amateur Radio League asking that several voice frequencies be kept clear. Hams were responding to the arduous rescue that would follow amid the rubble in the southwest coastal city of Tainan. Frequencies in Taiwan were to be kept clear on 7.060 with backup of 7.050 and on 80 metres 3.560 megahertz. Short range frequencies were being used as well on VHF and UHF. And then came the aftershocks, and tremors were felt even in the capital city of Taipei on the other side of the island from the stricken city. Ultimately, more than 350 people were rescued in the aftermath, but more than 500 were reported injured. Numerous individuals remained trapped inside buildings, and rescuers searched for them in the ruins, often by hand. The death toll by midweek had risen to nearly 20, and the developers of one residential building in the city were facing charges of professional negligence for alleged shoddy construction. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Graham Kemp, VK4BB, on the east coast of Australia, part of the Pacific Rim of Fire.
Because emergency preparedness is vital everywhere, the ARRL and the American Red Cross have a working relationship here in the U.S.
The ARRL and the American Red Cross have signed a new memorandum of understanding that spells out their relationship when disaster strikes and when radio operators are called up for emergency response. The document succeeds the agreement the two organizations signed in 2010 and renews their cooperative relationship. According to the memorandum, ARES personnel are to be deployed in keeping with a pre-arranged plan in order to keep communications open during emergencies. The document also encourages both organizations to communicate with state and local agencies and to share information regarding disasters and disaster operations. The ARRL commits to a role encouraging ARES units to work with Red Cross chapters to create plans for disaster relief and emergency response. And likewise, the Red Cross field units are being encouraged to communicate in planning with ARRL's field units. The new document also makes it clear that for ARES volunteers to assist the Red Cross, they do not need to undergo a prior background check, even if they are not registered Red Cross volunteers. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jim Dameron, N8TMW in Charleston, West Virginia.
Emergency preparedness on the local level is just as vital as we hear from one hospital in Indiana.
The newest operating room inside St. Vincent Clay Hospital in Brazil, Indiana, will only be used for emergency operations, but no one will need to scrub up before stepping inside. The operating equipment here will consist of two-way radios and other components. The operations will be conducted by the hams who belong to the Radio Amateur Civil Emergency Service. The hospital-based radio center is being underwritten by a grant of nearly $2,000 from the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. Clay County's Emergency Management Director, Brian Husband, applied for the grant with the support of the Clay County Commissioners. The volunteers are to provide assistance during natural disasters and extreme weather events. Husband was quoted in a recent article in the Brazil Times as saying that the Radio Shack would be able to communicate during the emergencies with other radio operators outside the county, all on behalf of the Emergency Management Office. Seems it is just what the doctor ordered after all. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Paul Brown, WD9GCO in Valparaiso, Indiana.
And finally this week, Skeeter Nash, N5ASH, has word of a new TV show that includes amateur radio in the plot.
The hottest thing on TV these days might just turn out to be radio. ham radio to be exact. Just as TV's Last Man Standing has given viewers a sampling of what goes on inside a ham shack, the CW network has announced it plans a pilot for the 2000 movie Frequency from New Line Cinema. In that sci-fi thriller, the son of a deceased New York City firefighter makes radio contact with his dad over the father's old ham radio equipment after an aurora borealis alters band conditions across time. The TV pilot recasts things with a new twist. It follows a female detective who uses her ham radio to communicate with her detective father, who died 20 years earlier. If all goes well, the producers may end up being more concerned about RSTs than Nielsen's.
And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for over 37 years and counting at www.arnewsline.org. With Graham Kemp, VK4BB, Jim Dameron, N8TMW, Paul Brown, WD9GCO, Skeeter Nash, N5ASH, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and of course our news team worldwide. I'm Don Wellbanks, AE5DW 73. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. And now, here's the solar update with Dr. Tamitha Skov.
The Valentine's Day storm arrives late, but still manages to bring aurora in parts of the world. And now a huge coronal hole has brought us some fast wind that is making this storm linger on over the next few days. Those stories and more in the news this week. The sun has been incredibly busy this week, all thanks to region 2497 that has managed to bring us not only some M-class flares, but also launched a solar storm at us back on the 11th. We thought it was going to hit on Valentine's Day, but we have this huge coronal hole that has managed to kind of push it up and northwest of us, so we only caught the grazing edge of it. Meanwhile, we've ended up having this fast wind here that has taken what was left of that storm and just slammed us, and we've gotten some gorgeous aurora that is lingering on and will probably continue for the next few days. Switching to our M-flare threat meter, you can see we're finally beginning to calm down from what has been a barrage of M-class flares over the past week or so, all due to region 2497. Now, these M-class flares haven't been large. They've just barely peaked over the M-flare threat level, but it's managed to give us enough noise on the amateur radio bands to kind of keep things frustrating for you. I know that, and it's impacted by this solar storm that's also hit us, but finally we're saying goodbye to that region as it rotates to the backside, so we should start seeing things begin to calm down over the next few days. Switching to our solar storm conditions, you can see that Valentine's Day storm really didn't manifest itself back on the 15th when we expected it to. It kind of was pushed off to the northwest, so all we got was a bit of wake and a little bit of turbulence. But then that fast wind hit, which just kind of enhanced all this turbulence, and we managed to slam into storm conditions starting around the 16th and into the 17th. You can see we actually got to a G2 level storm for a short while, and it's brought us some amazing aurora. Meanwhile, we're now in the thick of that fast wind, and this should continue for the next couple days. Switching to our solar storm conditions and aurora possibilities over the coming week, we are still feeling the effects of that fast wind. So NOAA is giving us about a 55% chance of a major storm at high latitudes. We really are still expecting storm conditions, but that should die down over the next couple days. At mid latitudes, we're expecting pretty much active conditions with about a 20% chance of a minor storm. And again, that should calm down over the next few days, so you amateur radio operators should breathe a sigh of relief starting around late of this week, maybe into the weekend. Switching to our solar flare and particle radiation storm outlook over the coming week, we do still have about a 30% chance of a M-class flare due to region 2497 not being quite out of view yet, but that should diminish very rapidly because there's no other M-flare players on the disk. So we expect that to drop down to pretty much nothing here in the next couple days. So you amateur radio operators and GPS operators should be able to feel a sigh of relief there really within the next day or so. Now, we do have an elevated chance of a proton radiation storm because anytime we have a region on the west limb, it always gives us a better chance for getting these proton radiation storms if it happens to let off a big flare. But again, that risk should also diminish here in the next few days. So this week has been extremely exciting. We've had solar storms and M-class flares and some fast solar wind that we're still feeling right now, but things look like they're going to be calming down over the next few days. We do have a little region that is growing on the sun right now, but it's really not a big enough deal to kind of get all worked up about, but we are watching it. Meanwhile, things should start calming down. We're going to get through this fast wind in the next few days, and by the time the weekend rolls around, everything should be quiet. So all you guys take a break, you Aurora photographers take a rest, and look at a job well done. I'm Tamitha Skov. Thank you for watching.
You know, you really should follow her on Twitter. It's Tamitha Skov. on Twitter because she tweets all the time. She doesn't always get a chance to put her videos up on YouTube and on Space Weather TV as timely as she would like, but she has a Periscope account as well. So check her out. But I mean, up to the second stuff, she will tweet all day long if something is, and all night long. I've seen her go, like I'll get up in the morning and I'll check Twitter and she'll be there still sending stuff up. She's been up all night long. So Tamitha Skov, thank you, Dr. T. We appreciate it. All right. So Monday night, we get another email I got was, Don, I'm with the Greensboro Amateur Radio Association in Greensboro, North Carolina. And we were wondering if you'd like to Skype in and be a guest at our club meeting on the 4th Monday of February. And I'm, well, sure. So I'm going to do that. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm honored to have been asked, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And Dale, that only proves one thing about the fine folks in Greensboro, North Carolina. They are starved for entertainment. I'll tell you, if I'm the only kind of guy that they can have come on and talk to them, then there's just, I don't know. They got bigger problems than what we can fix. But anyway, so there you go. There's my little piece. I think I'm gonna go check into the D-Star After Show net. It's on right now, as a matter of fact. Let me turn this on and see if we can.
Wait, Julia Tango Kilo from Victor Echo 5 Uniform Oscar.
Yeah, there they are. So Dale, why don't you show people some shacks, and I'll get out of here and go check into the D-Star After Show net. How's that sound?
Hey, sounds like a lot of fun, Don. And we'll get this thing rolling. Got a couple of rather medium-length videos tonight, so we've got another installment of Show Me Your Shack, finally, after the last one appeared there right before Thanksgiving. And we've got an introduction to a great group for QRP and CW operators. Well, thanks to a suggestion from Paul Huff, N8XMS, who's president of the North American QRP CW Club, we have a nice video. Jock Irvin, N1JI, produced the video for Ham Nation.
The North American QRP CW Club was founded in 2004 by Tom Mitchell, WY3H, and John Shannon, K3WWP. It's a club with a difference. What is a club with a difference, you ask? Well, for starters, life membership is free. In addition, we are a CW-only club. While we have a great deal of respect for all modes of operation and the people that use them, our top priority as a club is encouraging the use of CW and helping to increase all amateurs' speed and proficiency with Morse code. We also share the belief that QRP and CW are a winning combination. To put it simply, QRP works. As proof of this, consider club co-founder John Shannon, K3WWP. He has made at least one QRP CW QSO every day, every single day, since August 5th, 1994. That's more than 21 years of daily QSOs under every type of condition. And if you think you can't work DX with QRP, he has also recently reached the 1,000 consecutive day mark in a streak of making a daily DX QSO with QRP and CW. Every month, the NAQCC offers a different challenge to encourage the use of CW on the amateur radio bands. Some challenges involve using homebrew gear, while others might be about making contacts on a lesser-used work band. Our most popular challenges, however, are alphabet challenges, where the goal is to spell a number of different words from the call signs of stations you work during the month. The word lists always have an interesting theme. We offer an extensive array of awards. Some are patterned after other organizations' awards like DXCC, Worked All Continents, Worked All States, etc., but the difference is that many of our awards offer endorsements for using simple wire antennas. As far as we know, we are the only club that offers this type of endorsement. There are also awards unique to the NAQCC. Our QSO a Day award is for those who can make at least one QSO using QRP CW every day for as short a time as 1 month or as long as a year. You can receive the 30/30 award for making 30 QSOs on 30 meters in a month, and there's also a participation award for those who enjoy taking part in our monthly sprints and challenges. Speaking of sprints, we have at least one sprint every month, and they're open to members and non-members alike. Our sprints have different categories based on the type of antenna and type of keying you use. If you're using a simple wire antenna and a bug, for instance, you only compete against others who are also using the same type of antenna with a bug. This, along with the fact that most ops use a straight key, has made our sprints one of the most relaxed and popular 2-hour events on the amateur bands today, with an average of about 180 participants per sprint over the past 5 years. Participants in our monthly sprints and challenges are automatically entered into monthly prize drawings for handmade items donated to the club by Master Woodworker Greg, WB8LZG. If you're working to improve your Morse code proficiency, we offer 10 weekly nets. Most are QRS, or slow speed nets, specifically designed for helping you get comfortable behind the key. Every October, we have a week-long celebration for our club anniversary where volunteers operate from all over the country using special call signs. The celebration includes a special sprint and prize drawing. Recent prizes have included a UKITS HB1B QRP transceiver, various Vibroplex paddles and straight keys, books, and CDs. The North American QRP CW Club is truly international in scope with members in over 100 different countries. Some of our members have formed local chapters for the purposes of group outings and face-to-face gatherings. We currently have 8 local chapters: the Central Texas chapter, the Florida chapter, the Iowa chapter, which is the Quad Cities area of Illinois and Iowa, the Western Pennsylvania chapter, the West Virginia chapter, the West Florida chapter, and the European chapter. The European chapter has over 650 members and sponsors their own challenges each month. Of course, everyone is welcome to participate in the European challenges, regardless of where you live. The NAQCC has an excellent newsletter that is published every month in electronic format. Each issue averages about 50 pages of interesting content, and a complete archive of back issues is available on our website. Membership in the NAQCC is free, so why haven't you signed up yet? If you're willing to devote at least some of your operating time to QRP-CW, we would love to have you as a member. You will be joining the ranks of over 8,000 other amateur radio operators all over the world who share a love of CW and an interest in low-power operating. Find out more at naqcc.info.
Well, thanks for producing the video for us, Jock, and we really appreciate you taking the time to send us a copy without music so it can be rebroadcast by amateur repeaters around the world. Our Ham Nation viewers can see the video with background music written and performed by John Smithson. He's N8ZYA by visiting the club's website, and that URL for you is naqcc.info. Well, some of you have been waiting to see your shack since Thanksgiving, and you're in luck tonight. Here's the latest episode of Show Me Your Shack. Tonight, shack photos from the winter of 2016. Our friend Dan, WA5CYR, came across, quote, "This old guy in his AM ham station. There's a vintage BC 348 and an ARC 5. The latter was the first VFO for Dan's Globe Chief Deluxe. That was a 90-watt CW rig. Richard KF5RHI sent us this photo of his shack in a box. He's taken it to 2 winter field days and 2 ARRL field days and 1 Texas QSO party. There's an FT857D along with an LDGZ112 tuner and a Signal Link sound card built inside an Army surplus medical supply case. A Jock N1JI sent a photo of his 1991 novice shack in a previous Show Me Your Shack, but here's a current photo. He built his tiny shack on a youth-sized desk in the bedroom. He's earned DXCC, worked all continents, and a QRP QSO a Day Award with this gear. John, KB0VVK, sent us this photo. He said it's the same old pantry, but a new radio. The JKE5NIZ sent this image of the Radio Society of Tucson station K7RST during an operation to support Days in the Park. The Collins discone antenna is shown at the Titan Missile Museum in Green Valley, Arizona. The discone operates on 40, 20, 17, 15, 12, 10, and 6. Here are some of the society members operating from the park. Well, Anders, SM4KYN, sent us a photo of his 706, 700, and 7100 operating through a remote rig with his Heil Pro set. Jared, M3XYP, has an FT950, FTDX 1200, and an FTM 100D. He uses the PR781 and PR781 Gold Heil mics with the BHI noise eliminating inline modules. Here's a closer view of Jared's Great Shack. Brian, KD2IOG, got his license in April of 2015, and here's a shot of his first two radios, a BF F8 HP 2-meter 440 handheld and a Kenwood THF6 Tribune HT. He uses a diamond dual-band mobile antenna to hit most local repeaters from the basement. He's a member of the Parsippany Troy Hills, New Jersey races team. Anthony, KN2KI, sent us this photo of his fantastic shack, 2 monitors, an FT-DX 5000, and an Alpha 9500 linear. Tony, KB3CDA, sent us a nice photo of his dark living room shack in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He uses a Yaesu FT450AT with matching LDG tuner, also has a signal link for digital modes, and he sports an Alpha Delta DXCC fan dipole. Bill, KF5ZBL, sent photos of his Go Box in use here at the White Rock Lake near Dallas. He wanted one box with options for all modes. And here's a view of the back door of the enclosure. That enclosure includes a Kenwood TS480, an ICOM IC5100, a Yaesu FT-M400, and a Yaesu 8900. Here's a look into the back of the Go Box. He placed magnets on the back of the removable control heads for these radios. He uses them to mount the panels on the front of the Go Box. Bill's friend David, KG5EIU, took the photos of the portable operation in the Go Box. Here, Bill works on a pair of 60-watt solar panels that put out 6 amps. The Go Box case itself is the SKB case CCR6W1SKB. Brian, KD2IOG, built the 4-channel line mixer that Bob Heil demonstrated here on Ham Nation a while back. He planned on taking his general exam in January. Well, Jim, into ADV, operates from what he calls a simplified setup and runs almost all CW and digital. The shack also serves as his home office. It was purpose-built and has a space behind one wall where he can walk and add coax or other cables when needed. Ken, OH2KEN, in Finland, got interested in amateur radio, bought a lot of equipment from his father, OH2BPF, who could no longer operate. Since he couldn't sell the gear, he started experimenting with it. Here's a Heil headset his dad used with an ICOM 741 transceiver in the 1980s. And another view of one of the earpieces. He hopes to adapt the headset for use with his IC706. Finally, Phil, in one PSX, is a member of the 100 Watts in a Wire Facebook group. He sent us this great photo of his shack. It's lit with blue LED lights. It's a wide-angle view, but there's still a Yaesu FL7000 amplifier and several vintage receivers outside the frame. For example, there's a close-up of his Kenwood TS820S with the SW2000 SWR and power meter. That's it for this issue of Show Me Your Shack. Remember to send your shack photos to Ham Nation videos at twit.tv. You get those shack photos in, and we get about 20 of them in, and we'll produce another episode of Show Me Your Shack. So send them on in. Do try to make the images at least, say 20, 48 pixels wide if you can. When they're down around 168 to 200 pixels and you blow them up to HD 720 size, they start to fall apart a little bit. So that would be really good. And also, it's best if you shoot your shack photos landscape mode, the same shape as the TV screen. Would be a good thing. The 40-meter net is on 72-78 tonight. Eric into KOJ, the King of Jersey. He's firing up the net right at the end of the video segment here. So you can catch him on 72-78. Hopefully we'll talk to you there just a bit later. Also, if you'd like to man the Ham Nation booth for an hour or two at the Dayton Ham Convention, drop me a line to the Ham Nation videos at twit.tv address, and we'll get you on that list. And if you'd like a photography presentation, storytelling, visual storytelling through photography, we'd be glad to make a Skype presentation on that. We've done several here locally and several at the university, and they go over quite well. So make that offer. We can do a Skype presentation from here also. Well, Amanda's standing by in the Ham Nation Canyon City, Colorado studio with news from the chat room. But first, we're going to check in with George and see if we can find out what's new at ICOM. Take it away, George. What's up?
Good evening, Dale. Good to see you again, and your nice hat there. I didn't have mine out tonight, but we'll have to try that on again here soon. I've got a few things I want to give away here, but first let's get a message from ICOM, and then we'll be right back.
Discover D-Star this season and operate over the Internet gateway through repeaters. Uplink your local repeater, downlink from a remote repeater, and enjoy clear audio as you communicate with friends across the globe. Choose from 5 fun color options with the ID51A+. This D-Star dual bander features integrated GPS, free downloadable RS-MS1A Android app, Near Me repeater function for D-Star as well as analog repeaters, and it's available in classic black, sunset orange, passion pink, ultraviolet, and lime. If you're just starting out in D-Star, check out the ID880H. Features include VHF, UHF dual band functionality, 1 band at a time, good menu structure and easy programming, and fast multiple scanning for maximum reception. Interested in hands-free D-Star operation? Hit the road with the ID5100A. This radio offers optional Bluetooth capability, large backlit screen for high contrast viewing, and 50 watts of output power on both VHF and UHF. Limited shack space? No problem. The IC7100 base station is a great compact D-Star option. It covers HF, 6 meters, VHF, and UHF. An angled control head and touchscreen for quick intuitive operation, large internal speaker for clear digital audio, and it's perfect for multiband and all-mode communications. Visit icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM's D-Star radios.
And you can tune in and enter to win after each episode of Ham Nation. Go to icomamerica.com/hamnation and register for some great swag prizes like T-shirts and hats. And while you're there, you can learn how you could win in the monthly grand prize drawing for a new radio. For February, we've got the ICOM ID51A+ dual band, dual watch handy talkie. It's got GPS, analog, and D-Star, DV and FM repeater search function, micro SD card slot, and a lot more. And the winner will get to choose their favorite color. So go to icomamerica.com/hamnation and register after this and each episode of Ham Nation. You could be the winner. And these are really nice. So why wouldn't you go? Okay, got something else to give away here. And and that is 50 feet of this DX Engineering 400 Max coax. Last week I asked a question, what is the component number 4 in figure T2 here? And this question came from the amateur technician exam. Your choices, and this is figure 4 right here, or number 4. Your choices were a variable inductor, a double pole switch, a potentiometer, or a transformer. And we had a winner, and that's John Hasselback, WA2DRG. And John said, of course, that's a transformer. So congratulations, John. We're going to send you 50 foot of this DX Engineering 400 Max coax. And for next week, I've got another question, and we've got another prize here. We'll give away another 50 feet of this coax. That seems to be going over really well. And I've got something to go on the end of it here, and it's an MFJ lightning arrestor. This is the MFJ 270 Guardian Angel lightning surge protector, and it's good from DC to 1 gigahertz. Can handle up to 400 watts of power feeding through it, and it's got a ground connection on the bottom here connected to your ground system, and you've got a good path there for lightning to go to ground that will save you rigs in a lot of cases. So you want to check that out. But what I want to know, how does this work? How does the MFJ 270 work? If you think you know the answer to that, well, send it to me at hamnationcontest@gmail.com, and you could be next week's lucky winner. So that's all I got from here. So let's bring in Amanda and see what's been going on in the chat room. Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
Wow.
I'm sorry, you guys. I missed you last week, so I didn't get to show off my hearts for Valentine's Day. So there you go. Happy Valentine's Day. And I have to show you what my Valentine's Day present was. Brian, did you get that photo I emailed to you?
Yes, I did. Hold on one second.
Did? Okay.
Here.
If you don't mind showing it.
Yeah. Hold on. Got to push a little button here. There we go.
That's my Valentine's Day present.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that awesome?
That'll
I've
beat
already
a box
worked.
of chocolates any day.
Yeah, I got that too, actually. But no, this is great. And Jeff was just up there feeding it with some new Heliax today. So I've worked Lesotho with it. We worked Togo and some other countries, and it's great. I love it. We're about 55 feet up. So anyhow, thanks, Brian, so much for showing that. I appreciate it. That was a lot of fun. We've had a lot of it. Actually, you guys, if you ever think a tower project is going to be simple, it's not. It starts from just digging the hole and pouring the concrete in the tower base and then putting up the tower. It's a lot of work, and I can't wait to show you guys. I have a whole chronological thing, and just to show, like, this is a plug for DX Engineering. Thank you so much. We purchased our guy wire from you guys, and it's doing a great job. And tomorrow we're really going to test it out because we're about to have 40-mile-an-hour gusts. So if our tower stays up, yeah, we got a lot going on there. So I know we're short on time tonight. I'm going to jump right to the questions. Bob, the first one is for you. This one is about your example. It says, since no balun was used on Bob's antenna example, would it be advisable to wrap the feed line through a large toroid to separate the antenna from the lead-in?
My antennas are balanced. Okay. So I use coaxial dipoles, and they're balanced. It's an amazing design. Check it out. And you don't need balance. And I feed them. Well, there's 15 coaxes going out of here. The longest one goes down about 500 feet to the telephone poles where I have the phased arrays for 40 and 75. And then there's 160, there's another 40, there's another 75. in the tower. I use LMR 400 for the 6 meter and the VHF vertical, tri-band Comet vertical. I use LMR 400 there, but 213 works great, and I buried it. It's buriable, and that's what I do. And it's been here, going on, I can't believe it's all going to be 3.5, 4 years coming up. And it's been, it works great. And that's all I can tell you is that don't waste any money on little coax. A lot of guys want to get like RG8. Now, don't do RGX. Don't do that. Don't do that. Get at least 213, and you're there. You're fixed for HF. You get all these guys arguing about low loss, low. Who cares on the low frequencies? You can't count it. If you're worried about that, we're going to count how many angels can dance on the head of a pin. You don't need.
You're funny.
You don't need to worry about it. Dang it! Don't worry about it. But you do have to have decent coax, and the stuff that DX Engineering has is marvelous. 213 will work for anything you want to do. Now, when you get into the VHF stuff, that's a different story. I like to see LMR 400. You know, I had some idiot the other day, and he was an idiot. I told him that on the air. He had hardline for 75. Now, that is an egomaniac. I've never accomplished anything like that before. I never met anybody like that. Hardline on 75 meters? Are you kidding me? So, coax, that's all you need. But that's what I do, and I haven't had any problem with it.
So, Bob, you kind of answered. I think you saw you must have seen the question in the chat room, and I'm going to kind of pass this around. It's going to be a roundabout question. Someone had said his flavor at Feedline is RG8X, and he was curious on what yours was, Bob. So you've kind of answered that. And LMR 400 at least, or 213. Gordo, what do you recommend?
No, go for the big garden hose. Go for the LMR 400 or any one of the great DX Engineering's RG8 style, the big coax. Although we do use RG8X aboard sailboats that are racing for their marine electronics. But any long run, no, go for the big stuff. If nothing else, it looks impressive when Bob and I come into your shack and we see all this huge coax running out. That's the best. And I know you have the same thing with your new antenna.
Yeah, we kind of do. We have 3/8 inch heliax for our beam and 1/2 inch heliax for our UHF VHF setup. And it's especially nice when you have it in the bright blue outer shell. George, any preference on your end?
Yeah, I use a variety of things. Of course, for VHF and UHF, I'd like to use heliax if at all possible. If you don't have it or can't afford the heliax, then go with the LMR 400 or RG213 if it's not very long. But if you start getting a good length, you're really going to pick up some loss. So LMR 400 or the DX Engineering 400 Max here would be my minimum choice for VHF and really UHF too. UHF has even more loss. For HF, I generally run RG213. Which I believe is plenty good, but I've also used RG8X, and really, the specs are very close on it. So if you need to, you can get away with the RG8X, but 213 is usually what I use.
Okay, and this brings me to a very funny joke, and I know we're short on time, but we had a friend of ours come in and he said, "This is RG8U from the Coaxio Islands checking in," and it was so funny. By the way, you guys, I guess you had to be there. Anyhow, I appreciate that. He did. I'm not even kidding you. And he really fooled a guy that was on the repeater, and he was like, "Oh, DX on a repeater." Anyhow, Gordo, another question for you. Are there any tricks when setting up a mag mount antenna as far as feeding the coax through the door or the hatch? Anything they should avoid? Any easy, simple tricks some hacks to get through it to make it better?
This is Foxtrot 0 Lima. That'd be fool. Yeah, right. Yeah, you run it in through the door and close the door. And to make sure, you just pull it a little bit, and if it slightly pulls out, then you know you're good to go. If you slam the door and it breaks the coax, well, then you know it won't work and try something else. So try it. I've never had a door crunch coax up by the window part.
Very good. So just don't be putting your kids in and out of that door is what you're saying. Put your dog and everything in on the other side of the car and you should be good to go. Very good, Gordo. Thank you so much. One more announcement here. Our D-Star net controller, KHJTK, Jeff, was nice enough to present to a club meeting in Ohio, and I missed that club. But anyhow, they wanted to say thank you so much to him for coming over and visiting with them and talking about Ham Nation and what he does for the D-Star net. So thank you, Jeff, so much for doing that. I know they really appreciate it. Other than that, you guys, that's all I have. Over to you, Bob.
Hey, I was going to show you guys something that's really cool. Lynn sent this to me, VK4SWE, working on some Australian nets after midnight. She saw this little guy. She said, you need a special windscreen for it. So she sends me this. Guess what? Purple windscreen. Like that.
Nice.
Very
I thought
nice.
that was really
purple.
Thank you.
Wow.
If you don't listen on 20 meters and you'll hear that net. It's really cool. It's after midnight and they have great signals up here. Well, this has been great. I know it's been a long show, but oh boy, lots of information. And those pictures were just great. Keep those pictures coming. I love seeing all those shack pictures, and Dale does such a great job of putting them together. My goodness.
He does.
So that's all I have from here. And we'll be back again next week. Randy's got a really good segment next week, so he has that all ready to go. And George might be done with his soldering, but what was it? 35 million watt? How many was that, George? What is that you're working on?
No, not million. Just 35,000, Bob. You know.
Oh, just that.
I want to see the feed line for that one on 75 meters. Okay.
It's about 4 inches. About a 4-inch feed line.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, this is too much great fun and nice antenna system, Amanda, and I'm glad everybody was able to get it up. No wonder you have such a big signal. We'll see you on the nets in a little bit.
It was awesome.
For now, 7-3. I didn't say 73s. I said 7-3. That could be a question, George. That could be a question. Why not 73s? Get me going on some of these stuff. 7-3.
I've seen some memes about that on Facebook where they really threaten you. No 73s. It's definitely 7-3.
Nope. Better than that. Just see you later. Bye-bye for now. This is K9ID and the whole Ham Nation family. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Leah Laporte, for the time on Twit. And we're all going to be back here next week doing it all over again. Until then, catch us all on the air because we're there. So, 7-3. Bye-bye for now, everybody.